Welcome to a lunchtime conversation.
Would you ever dress up in a Bigfoot costume?
Yeah, probably.
I don't think I think I'd be nervous someone would shoot me.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
Especially like in like a rural area. Like I'd be worried
To prove that Bigfoot exists?
Because how else are you going to prove it?
Gotta get his head.
I know, that's what I mean. Like you take a video, there's going to be like, yeah, that was someone in a costume. You're stupid. With like some guys like, no, dude, I'm shooting this one, bagging it and taking it to the freaking.
Ooh, here's a question. Would he be considered a murderer? After finding out it's a human inside a costume.
Yes, I think so.
It would be manslaughter.
Unintentional murder?
But yeah, like why are you just shooting some random
I
ass?
thought it was a Bigfoot and I thought I could get famous and rich off it.
Yeah, so manslaughter.
Interesting. What is manslaughter as far as like what time do you do?
Unintentionally killing a human.
Yeah, so like if you, it would be like you made a bad decision and accidentally killed somebody. Or based on the decision that you made, an accident happened and you killed somebody.
I could see this going to the Supreme Court because so a guy shoots Bigfoot, it's a guy in a costume, kills him, and they try to throw him under the bus for manslaughter and for poaching because they're
And for poaching?
Listen, they're like, you can't just go shoot animals. Like there wasn't a permit.
It's not an animal.
I know, but my thing is so, and then it goes to the Supreme Court that should we classify Bigfoot as an animal or not?
That's very good.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Here's a question. What if they shot it and it turned out to be a real Bigfoot?
dude,
It'd be poaching.
It'd be poached, but it's not an animal. But when you shot it, it's not an animal. They would have to make a law.
But you don't know it's not an animal. It's not classified yet.
That's what I'm saying. But right now, it's not an animal.
But you can't just go out
If I
and kill
walked out
things.
and there was a Bigfoot out there and I shot it,
Can you?
they would get you in trouble for killing an endangered species.
no,
Like,
I
that
think it would be like just discharging a firearm in city limits. There's no way because it's not even a species. They're saying it's not real.
It is.
But this is the type of stuff would go to the Supreme Court and take the news for just 3 months while there's just Epstein shit getting released left and right, and that we're just busy worried about if Bigfoot's an endangered animal.
Dude, this is a dinner time conversation. What if aliens landed on your lawn and you just come out blasting?
Yeah, it's true.
You
That
killed them all.
that is interesting too. Like that one's actually more. Yeah, I don't know.
Would you be charged with murder?
I mean, if
It was a species we didn't even know it existed yet.
you might get in trouble.
For discharging a firearm in city limits.
Maybe not by the police, but the feds may come in and be like, motherfucker.
Like you killed them?
Yeah.
Like they just landed at the wrong address. Like they're
I
supposed
feared
to.
for my life. What do you?
Like I'm at peace.
Only in the U.S.
Well, so are we gonna just keep going into the Bigfoot now that we're on that?
Am I
Do you have one on Bigfoot?
No, that's what I'm doing.
Let's do
Oh,
it.
yeah, go ahead.
Okay, well we'll just keep going.
Do
So
it.
so where are you guys at? Braden, are you
Bigfoot?
a bit
Doesn't exist.
0%?
Yeah, I think 0% doesn't exist.
I think there is a 1% chance it exists because there have been things like, what's it called? The skunk ape? Or what's the big ape that used to exist? It's the human ape hybrid thing. It was like something
Bear Pig?
Epithecus or
Yeah.
shit, whatever it's called.
Well, no, there was like giants. Like there used to be humans that were really, really big. Is that what you're talking about?
No, I'd have to look it up. But it's like an ape type creature that we've proven did walk Earth at one point.
Oh, I think I do know what you're talking about. And
It
it
was-
it had like a big head.
It was
and, like,
humanoid, but it was an ape.
Yeah.
It was
Yep.
it was a monkey, but it was just a big human looking monkey.
Yep.
So I think maybe something like that could exist, but it'd be so hard to not be detected.
I know. And I'm maybe a little bit higher than you, but I'm like 2.5%. Like there's just, dude, with all the cameras and technology, and you're
Yeah.
telling me we've never found bones. Like they've found
Footprints?
they found
but
they found
crop circles with footprints. Like,
How
everyone's
do
like,
you-
oh,
how do you believe
how
it?
did these crop circles come in? These are so elaborate and crazy. It must be aliens, or it's just a farmer out there just drawing.
So I think he's talking about they found petrified footprints that are huge. So this is like legit, but again,
Yeah, it
like
could be some old People
in the 1400s playing a prank.
Yeah, exactly.
Get the skunk ape out here.
Exactly. Like, when was the Chupacabra invented? When was Bigfoot like first sighted and invented?
Oh, that's true.
Right?
I've never even.
Long time ago.
Yep.
It's true because like a lot of mythical creatures or stories people would tell because of stories from back in the day.
Exactly. When was Santa Claus invented?
Yeah.
Like, like how long have we been?
Wait, Santa Claus was invented?
How long have we been pretending to come down chimneys and putting cookies out?
I didn't even look this up, but what's the difference between a Yeti and a Bigfoot and a Sasquatch? Is a Yeti just a snow version?
I
of
always
it?
thought it was a snow version.
Yeah, it's like a snow.
That's so stupid.
And a Sasquatch and a Bigfoot is the same thing.
Like a fox and an Arctic fox. Although I think Arctic foxes are smaller. But
I
anyways,
don't know. Hey,
They're foxes. It's just a different kind of Bigfoot.
Trevin, you're probably going to bring this up, but what about that story? Was it in Russia or whatever, where those campers went up on the side of the mountain, the like Yatlov's Pass or something like that? Have you heard about that?
nuh
I forget what it's called, but there was like 10 campers who went on the side of the mountain, or hikers, and they had to batten down because the storm was coming through and got really bad. And they were like all experienced outdoorsmen. They sat on the side of the cliff with their tents, and nobody ever saw them again. So they went looking for them, and they found their tents, and all the tents were torn to shreds. There were clothes torn everywhere. They started finding bodies that were either had their ribs broken or their eardrums bursted out. Their heads caved in. There were bodies that were like buried, some that weren't buried, some that were naked, some that weren't. And so they were like, dude, what if like a Yeti came through and ripped these guys to shreds?
Because it's not like they're eaten by a bear.
They weren't
like,
eaten by a bear. Like
to death.
their tents were zipped up, but there were openings out of like their back of their tents, like they were trying to escape from something. Yeah, and like they would forget their shoes and they'd be like running through the snow and then they'd find a body. Yeah, that's wild. You ever heard about that?
No.
I have heard about that one. That one was interesting because I think the thing that was weird about it is because they never found, like they didn't find, like if a bear came in and attacked like 15 people and killed them, like it would eat some of them. But this one was like it was violently done and none of them were eaten. Like they were just
between
dead.
February 1st and February 2nd of 1959. The Yatlov Pass incident is what it's called. It is an incident in which the event of 9 Soviet hikers died in northern Ural Mountains through what I just described. They don't know what killed them. I think there was even the crazy stuff they were finding in their blood. There was a lot of like odd stuff that happened.
I'm just kidding.
Some of them had physical trauma. Some of them had hypothermia. Some of them were just running, chest trauma, a skull fracture.
Did all of them die?
Yeah, I think so.
What if they kill each other?
That was one of the theories. Is like one of them went manic and then like hacked them all up or something.
Oh.
Or the bodies were found running in water in a creek. 3 of the 4 had soft tissue damage to the head and face. 2 of the bodies had missing eyes. 1 had a missing tongue. 1 had a missing eyebrow. The investigation concluded that a compelling natural force had caused the deaths.
Compelling natural force?
Yeah.
What does that even mean?
I don't know.
Avalanche?
So here's the crazy thing that they went up and scientists had found out that there was crazy winds from the storm that were coming through the mountains, and it was creating an infrasound that they could hear but not perceive. So they were thinking that the infrasound was making them go crazy. And so you'd have these guys that would go just running off with no clothes, or some would go attack their buddy, something like that.
They legit went mad because of this, unperceivable sound.
That's a theory, but yeah.
Is that real? Infrasound?
Yeah.
A real thing?
Dude,
like obviously infrared.
Yeah, we literally use infrasound as a device in like wartime.
It's like a deterrent.
Yeah.
I've seen some like things about sound weapons, but typically you can hear those things. Huh.
When I first heard about this story, the very first thing I heard of what happened is that there was a Yeti attack.
Yeah, of course.
See, and that's the stuff. So the other one I want to bring up, this is one that I believe more than the other ones because of a video I saw online, and I can't find it. And if I find it later, maybe we'll post it on. But so and we had to look up how to say it, but it's a Pontiana or Kuntianlana. And it is the myth is and I don't know why the woman's head, but there's a woman's head.
But maybe what is the Pontiana?
So that's what I'm describing. It's a woman's head with really, really long hair, and it's a ghost. And then like I don't know how it moves or whatnot, but like it'll attach itself to something and suck the blood out of it and kill it, and then it'll go back into the swamp.
And where does it originate from?
Indonesia.
Yeah, so it's like an Indonesian
Mythical,
Yeti or
yep.
Indonesian
Yep.
Chupacabra.
Yep. So it's one of those mythical creatures from Indonesia. There's a video online of like 2 or 3 farmers trying to get something off of a goat. There's something. So I've seen this video and it is weird. Like it is really. So there's something on the goat and there's a big black thing on its
Not
neck.
a giant leech.
No, it's not a giant leech. And then it's wrapped around it. And so like there's guys are like hitting it. They're scared of it. They're like hitting it with sticks. The one guy's like trying to film it. There's like guys with flashlights, but they're trying to hit it with the sticks. Finally, they get like the hair off of it and the hair's kind of dragging and the goat's like, bah, bah. And then finally, like they hit it off. And when it falls to the ground, it starts running. And there is just like a huge trail of hair. And I'm not joking. And they chase it for a while and it eventually gets in the water and they're like hitting it in the water. Like these guys are trying to kill it and they never kill it. And that one, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm a believer. Like it took
Dude.
one video and I was convinced.
What if it's totally deep faked or AI'd video or like CGI doctored?
I don't, and maybe I need to look at it more, like the origination of the video. But that one, I've never seen a Bigfoot video and been like, yeah, it's real. I've always been like, nah, I don't.
What about even like the original Bigfoot video?
Especially that one, like the one where he's like walking.
Yeah.
And he turns.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's as fake as hell.
Yes,
That's a
like
dude in a
Fake as
costume.
it gets. Yeah.
every Bigfoot video I've ever seen, I'm like, that's stupid. Even if it looks really real, I'm like, that is a guy in a costume.
And
that's
Bigfoot is so popular and so widely known that it's almost like you have to have an experience with it in order to believe it.
Yeah.
Because the number of possible fakes that can happen is astronomical.
There was
Everyone
one just
knows about
recently
it.
where they were like on a train driving or going by
in Colorado.
in Colorado and filming it, and it was like crystal clear video, and there was a Bigfoot out there. There's just some dude fucking around trying to mess with people.
Exactly.
So, like, if
the
you
likelihood that you
told
see
me-
one, you're just gonna go, ha ha, good one, but
Yeah, if
until
you
it
told
kills
me you saw Bigfoot on the drive here, I'd be like, dude, you saw a dude in the
Yeah,
costume.
you see that guy out there dressed as Bigfoot? That's all you'd say.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of like Jesus, right? If Jesus was to come back, you probably, he's holding a sign, on the side of the highway saying, Jesus, whatever. Like you'd see whoever it is and be like, "You're crazy, dude.
Yeah,
You're
you
a
need
crazy
to-
person."
Are you on drugs?
Exactly. Same with
This
when
is-
you see a Bigfoot. You
This
go,
is the
"Haha,
most
good joke."
advanced society that probably doesn't believe in any of that shit anymore.
Mhm.
Like, if Jesus is real and he came back, it would be a hard time to get followers.
Yes.
Yeah, that would be. You're
Because
taking
look
me-
at like David Blaine or like these magicians who can do some crazy shit, and you're like, that's just a magic trick.
Yeah, you're like, hey, that was cool.
Exactly.
Dude, some of
do
those
it again. Do
But,
it again.
but then you talk some shit like, oh, the second coming. You're like, haha, just stick to the magic, man.
You're like, shut up. Yeah, the magic stuff is pretty wild. There's some magic tricks that I'm like, holy cow. Like,
Dude, I'm telling you, even if he parted the Red Sea in front of me, I would be like, how the fuck did you do that? That was a badass magic trick.
I know we're so, and I think it goes back to like, we are so, it's sometimes really hard to convince us, but also at the same time, very easy. So going back to my video, I saw that video. I'm like, dude, I'm a believer. Like my believer of this Pontiana or whatever it is, I'm like a 70% now. I'm like, dude, there is so
1% Bigfoot.
well, and I guess let me clarify. I'm a believer of it because it was seemed like such a real video. You could feel the frustration of the farmers trying to get it off their goat.
Like not acting.
Yeah. And so I think my thing with that one is there might be a creature in Indonesia that we just haven't really discovered yet. And they're so rare and they lay an egg and it hatches every 27 years. So like it's, you know what I mean? Like there
Yeah,
could be
like,
a scientific
How
explanation.
many undiscovered species are there actually still out there right
Oh,
now?
yeah.
A lot. And so that's like my one maybe caveat that Bigfoot could exist is there's still so much unwalked land that is like under trees and in
Yep.
forests.
Something that big.
That big is where it
Like
gets
the
me.
things that
I
we're
know.
finding a new species of are fish in the bottom of the fucking ocean.
Bacteria,
That we just don't go see.
a little
Or-
insect.
or little insects or birds or something. These little things
Yeah.
that are isolated forever and they're super hard to find because they're so small. All the big shit we've kind of seen. You know?
Ooh,
besides the bottom of the ocean.
Here's something to think about. Caves are so like some of the caves in the world are so big. So could there be a cave under Indonesia that's huge, like big cave? And there's some creatures that live under there. And this is one of those animals that lives there. And every once in a while, one of them will find a way out. And it's very rare that it does, but it gets its way on surface. And that's why it does grow hair, doesn't need eyes, but it'll just find something, attach it to it and suck the blood. And so there might be a whole ecosystem in a cave.
They're just hairy leeches.
They're just hairy leeches that live in this cave system. That run. Dude, it was creepy.
You
So
gotta show us
creepy.
the videos. That's
I wanna
crazy.
see that shit.
Yeah, it is a wild video. Chupacabra. What about that one?
You've got like an article of that. I don't know much about Chupacabra other than the goat sucker.
Yeah, it's just like
It's like a hairless dog, right?
it's like a hairless dog, cat, demon thing that'll just suck the blood. There's
goats.
yeah.
Back in the day when I was like 10, me and my friends would be like playing outside and be like, you better go inside before it gets dark. 'Cause the Chupacabra is
Oh,
gonna get you."
really?
And we just fuck around. And I used to believe in it. I was like, I got to get inside because that thing's coming.
See, and I had never really heard about it until I got older. Like it wasn't something we talked about when I was.
Isn't it like a creature from Mexican folklore?
Yep.
And my prediction with that one is very similar. It's probably like to what you were saying. It was probably something a long time ago that actually was killing goats, but it was like a mangled ass fox, something
Yeah.
along those lines.
It
A
was
wolf with mange.
well. What's
Yeah.
that? What's that disease where humans lose their hair?
Rabies?
Alopecia.
Oh, alopecia. Yeah.
So is there a
Rabies.
freaking is rabies? Is there like a fox that got alopecia and it looked scraggly as hell and it was killing stuff and they're like, oh my gosh, it's a blood sucking
Right.
demon.
And then the folklore went out there,
Yep.
the myths, went out.
That
and
is something
everyone
that's
loves that.
interesting about animals is some animals will make sounds that you don't expect, like an elk. Elk makes scary ass noises.
Dude,
and if
just
you've
a-
never heard it before, if you're just walking through the woods and you hear this thing scream at you like that,
Dude,
you're like, there's something in these fucking woods.
so
you know?
I have been next to elk when they bugle and it is like you can feel it vibrate your chest. You're like,
Really?
what the hell animal? Like
It does not sound
I
like
know
a
it's-
sound it would
I
make.
know it's an elk, but I'm like, oh my gosh, like that is crazy. Or have you ever heard like there's mountain lions that'll just like scream and they are scary as hell. Like they
don't know.
sound so scary.
So, like, how many of these things are like rumors or stories where the villager gets back in the day to their village and they're like, you guys aren't going to believe what's out in those woods.
Yeah.
There's I saw it in the trees because it like flew by real quick, but it's really just an elk.
Well, and it's also like there's probably a chance that there was a cougar that was in heat and it was screaming for a partner at the same time an elk was bugling. And there's a guy that's down the canyon and he hears it at the same time and he's like, oh my gosh, that's Bigfoot. That's Bigfoot. And so, yeah, and he just like runs back to his village, like, guys, listen to this.
There's
And then
a
it just
horny
gets
ass
passed on.
Bigfoot out there.
Okay, let's go through a scenario. You're out hunting by yourself. So you have a gun, you're out in the woods, and you come across something you think is Bigfoot. Would you, this is kind of how the episode started, but would you take a shot? Would you try to get closer? Would you?
How sure am I that it's a Bigfoot? Or like, how well is it in the distance? Or I'm like, what is that out there?
So let's say it's in the
Or
distance.
is it
Would
20
you?
feet away?
Yeah.
No, let's say it's in the distance. Would you try to get closer, or would you be like, I don't even want to mess with it?
And I got a gun.
I wouldn't mess with it.
I don't know if I'd mess with it.
It's like
What's
A
the
bear.
point? What's the
you
point?
see this massive ass bear down there.
Yeah.
And you're not hunting it, and you're just traveling or something.
Yep.
It seems, or hunting, right?
You're hunting a deer, so why
Okay,
would you go
I'm not
chase a
going like,
bear?
Oh shit! Let's go check that out. Let's get in the danger zone.
Yeah, I don't believe in Bigfoot enough that if I seen it out there in the distance, I'd be like, that is a bear, and it's standing on two legs, itching its back, or scratching a tree or something.
Or it's just
I'm going the other way.
Some big dude down
Okay.
there. Hey, looks like there's another hunter down there. Let's get out of here.
Yeah.
Now if it's close and it was just, I mean, I again, it's a bear. I'd
The
get fuck
only
out.
way I'd convince myself it's actually Bigfoot is if it was 20 feet away
and
and it's next to
introduced
me
himself as
and it
Bigfoot.
went and it screamed at me and I could see the spit coming out of its mouth
Phlegm
and it's
come
got
out of
teeth.
its mouth.
Dude, it'd be hard to convince me other than something like that.
It had some Jack Link's
So-
beef jerky.
Or what's the other? There's a mattress company where there's Sasquatches that talk about the mattress.
Yes.
The soap company, they do squats.
squats.
Oh yeah. It's funny how we say that we don't believe. So imagine one of us did run into it and then they're like, dude, guess what I saw? Like you could never believe them.
Right.
No, you would be called a dumbass.
You would.
Like,
and so
like
that's,
the only way I would believe it was if somebody I trusted
It ripped your
had
arm off.
a original video that they took themselves and then they could explain all of the context around the video. And I know
Would you still believe it 100%?
as non-jokers, then I'd be like, no, I wouldn't. Like that would get me to like 20%.
Consider it. Yeah.
Yeah. I'd be, okay, maybe. But if they're a joker at all, I'd be like, no, fuck you. Like you're just
What would get you to 100%?
I'd experience myself. I would have to like be there. And yeah.
Here's something to think about. Are you so skittish with it that you would see? Because I think I go back to like, I think we've talked about ghosts, that you might see a ghost, but then like 2 or 3 weeks later, you might be like, no, I don't think I saw it. I think I'm making stuff up.
Yeah.
Do you think you would see a Bigfoot and in the moment be like, holy shit, this is Bigfoot. It's 20 feet away. It threw a rock at me. It barely missed. I saw it growl. I saw its neck muscles move when it was growling at me, and it was real. And then like 3 days later, you're like, was it real though? And like, would you start to question yourself if what you really saw?
There's a possibility, but there's also a difference between like a ghost in the middle of the night.
True.
In your house that's dark and you're looking down the hallway
versus like something in the daylight.
Yes, and you see something in the daylight very clearly. You got a mental picture and you see it for that long that that the exposure is seconds.
True.
Minute.
And I think the emotions behind it of like the emotion of like, holy shit, this might kill me versus like a ghost. It's like, oh, that's scary, but I don't know if it's real.
Exactly.
Okay.
What am I experiencing right now?
Yeah, that would be interesting.
Think about that. Yeah. But even with that said, there might be that couple weeks down, like, was it a bear?
Did I just look at it weird?
Even like 3 days past, I'd be like, I don't know for sure. I think it was a Sasquatch.
Yeah.
But then 20 years later, it's absolutely no longer a Sasquatch. I'm like, that's a bear. I saw a bear in the woods.
Yep.
Like, I don't trust the human mind enough. I wouldn't trust myself.
What's your opinion on Loch Ness Monster?
So I don't know enough.
I have a funny opinion of it.
What I've heard is Lake Loch Ness is like deep.
True. That's the rumor I've heard too.
But the fact that there's like some giant lizard dragon, probably not.
Is it connected to the ocean?
I don't know.
I think so, but I don't know. I don't know enough.
Here's the crazy thing. There are stuff in the waters that we don't know what's down there. Like in the ocean, there's stuff that we've never even found.
I would actually be a believer of, if I go Kraken percentage, I would say I'm probably like a 20% possibility that there's a Kraken.
I think I'd be higher.
Like a giant squid.
We have found some giant ass squids.
Yeah.
Imagine being a pirate back in the day with sails, how steam engines or any of that stuff. And some crazy giant squid flings its arm up out of the water. You're like, holy shit.
Yep.
We're dying.
And and it's a big storm, and that's why the squid come up to the surface, because the water.
And your boat is really kind of small.
Yeah, it's not big compared to these like Titanic big sized liners or sea liners, whatever.
Yeah. Sea monsters, I can believe more.
Yep. I agree.
Just because of, the sea is like another planet. It is aliens down there.
I've heard people say we know more about space than we do the bottom of the ocean.
Damn.
Because like there's no light down there. You can't go explore.
It's harder to get down there.
It's hard to get down there.
Yeah. And so like we know more about space and what's out in our galaxy than we do at the bottom of the ocean. It's also kind of a funny meme I've seen is NASA actually used to explore the ocean and space. And it said like they did their deepest dive sometime in like 1960s or something. And then ever since then, their whole goal is to try to get us off the planet. And so they're like, what did they find down there? That they put all efforts to getting us off this planet.
Well, it's interesting. When you're dealing with two different things with space, it's a vacuum. It's the lack of pressure, which apparently that's a lot easier than intense
20
pressure.
billion pounds of pressure or whatever.
Yeah, you look at the Marinette.
That Titan submarine, I read somewhere that the pressure per square inch was as much as like a full-size truck per inch.
Oh, per inch. Okay, I see what you're saying. Because the other one I heard is it was like 30 elephants stacked on top of each other.
Yeah.
So that's like the whole thing, but you're talking per square inch.
Per square inch.
Whereas in space, they're using tinfoil to travel through.
Exactly. Yeah. It's just about keeping the pressure inside. Because the vacuum, right? It must be much easier, I guess.
Did you guys know that there is a theory that there's a Bear Lake monster?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because Bear Lake is deep. It's deep.
Yeah. And they also, I think one of the conspiracy theories is it connected to
Yes.
Scotland's Loch Ness.
Oh,
I
really?
remember- I remember-
The Bear Lake Monster. They have a boat out there. It's called the Bear Lake Monster, and you can pay to go ride it. And then they'll tell you, they'll tell you stories and stuff. Dude, Bear Lake is freaking. It's kind of. You get out in the middle and you jump in. Like,
Oh, it's terrifying.
it's like there's nothing there, man.
Dude, you're
it's
not
terrifying
sinking
when you-
30 feet. You're sinking like, I think a majority of the lake is like hundreds and hundreds of
Yes.
feet deep.
Nah,
It's scary when
It's a
you're like
cold-ass
when
lake.
you're going over the ridge and you see that massive lake and then you look at it and it's just blue and you're like, why is it that color?
It is deep.
It's deep.
Yep.
which is weird because it's not very big.
It's
pretty big.
Okay,
It's
I mean,
like-
it's pretty big, but for how deep it is and like the surface
True.
that it takes up, like that's a steep ass.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Yes, I
incline,
agree.
right? Crazy.
So here's the funny part with Loch Ness. If you ever look up a picture of a whale penis and Loch Ness Monster, it is the exact same image.
No,
yeah,
Yes.
it's like the bent over curve hook
Yep.
thing.
And so like,
no.
Yeah.
There's been-
Whales will come up out of the ocean and slip on their back and like show you their penis, and it is that bent curve look.
And it's a Loch Ness Monster.
oh, it is the exact same picture. So if you compare them side by
Is that the
side,
picture you printed?
no, I didn't. But like,
whale
it's
penis?
just like you can go look Loch Ness versus whale penis, and it is like a side by side
Okay.
picture. That's just
I don't believe it at all anymore. It's just
Well,
it's just lake whales.
Let's just say whales live in salt water.
I know,
It's
so-
freshwater.
yeah. And so that's where I was curious
Lake
if
Loch
that
or whatever?
connected. Like if there was a river and the whale did swim up river or something.
Mhm.
Yeah,
But-
maybe. Yeah, because they haven't seen it since, have they?
They haven't
And
seen
there's
it. I
probably
think there was
people
just
that
one
explain it.
picture.
Maybe they have.
Or what if it was like? Because I know a theory is like it was just a log floating out there that was a weird shaped log.
It's always foggy when the Loch Ness Monster comes out.
Yep.
Weirdly.
It's smart. It's so intelligent. It knows. Have you guys ever heard of Mothman?
Isn't that like a Godzilla?
Kind
That's
of.
Mothra.
Mothra. Yeah.
Oh no, this one I was just thinking. So Mothman, it looks like a humanoid moth creature. I've never heard of it much, but that's one of the mystical
The
creatures.
Slender Man on
With
here?
like
Ooh, dude, don't bring. Slenderman scares the shit out of me,
Really?
dude. I am not like.
That's like a modern day folklore.
Oh, and that one's scary.
it's not even like remotely real.
But isn't that the one where there were the two girls back east that killed another girl, and they said that
I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
so there was two girls that were becoming friends with Slenderman. They invited another girl over, took her out to the woods, and killed her. And then they legitimately are
They
like
blamed Slenderman.
they
for the
blamed
murder.
Slenderman. Like it was weird. Like I remember just like,
There's a couple crazy girls.
I
think
know.
it was.
but it's like it's so I don't know.
Did the game already come out at that point?
No, I don't think so. Like this was a while ago. Slenderman just what do you mean the game?
There's
Uh,
a bunch of games on
yeah,
it.
there's like that original
how-
Slender Man game.
How recent are they?
2008, 2010.
Interesting. I'd have to go back and see when the girls, because that would be interesting. If the game came out first, then I'd be. I
It's
wouldn't be as
because
scared.
Slender Man got really popular, like in that 2008 to 2014, that range somewhere
Yeah.
there.
Yep.
And yeah, so if it happened in that range,
That would be one of the least scary folklore things I could see. It's
Oh.
just a dude in a suit with he's wearing a white onesie under.
yeah,
it.
but he's got those arms that extend super long.
If he displayed that in
figures.
front of me, then I'd be like, ah, shit.
Yeah,
That's kind of
fuck.
scary.
Well, and I thought that's like he.
Freddy Krueger shit.
Yeah, like just and that creepy stuff kind of creeps me out because it goes back again. Like I got a chance at beating a grizzly bear in a fight. Like it's a 0.00001% chance, but like there's no chance that I'm beating a freaking Slender Man in a fight.
Then you said the same thing about like werewolves or
Yeah,
something.
you said
The exact
werewolves
same
and
thing.
ghosts. I could
Yeah.
fight. I could take a werewolf.
I
could
got a
take-
0.0001% chance to take a werewolf.
Oh, I could take a
Ghost?
werewolf, possibly. Yeah, but yeah, I agree. That's what I said.
So Mothman, is that like a dude with beady bug fly eyes?
Yep.
He's just got like a million eyes.
It's
on
just
his
like a
head?
humanoid moth man, like exactly. Like I looked up a picture
Can
to
he
add
fly?
here. Yeah,
Sounds like some dumb shit.
But, like,
Some
I've-
Jetsons.
I had never heard of it. Thunderbird, that's a more of a Native American folklore.
I've heard of Skinwalkers.
Yeah,
That's a crazy one.
Oh.
Skinwalkers could be like its own episode.
So Skinwalker. So I used to work on a ranch.
Skinwalker Ranch.
No, I worked on a ranch down in the Arizona Strip. So at the bottom corner of Utah, at the southwestern corner of Utah, Arizona's right there, and their Grand Canyon cuts off that corner of Arizona. So they call it the Arizona Strip because there's no law, there's no law enforcement. Like the nearest officer is on the other side of the Grand Canyon. So for him to come over and investigate something, he's got to drive all the way around the Grand Canyon and then come in. So it's kind of like this lawless, crazy area. It used to be back in the day. So I worked on a ranch down there. It was 90 miles from the nearest telephone pole. Not even the nearest road, 90 miles from the nearest telephone pole. So it was like I'm gonna say like a 3-hour drive on a dirt road to get there.
Why is it out there?
So this was called the Bar 10 Ranch, and they were a main get out point for people that were rafting the Grand Canyon. So this was one of the points that you could get out. So it was like and I don't know the trip days, but on day 4, you could get out at the Bar 10 Ranch. They even had an airport, and then you could fly back to Vegas or wherever you were coming from. There would be helicopter. I rode in a helicopter almost every single day on that ranch because we would fly down into the Grand Canyon to pick people up and bring them back out. And that was really cool. Just like part of your job, getting a helicopter every day. But there was an old guy on that ranch, and he would not talk about skinwalkers because it scared him so much, because he had things that happened to him when he was younger. He was like 70 years old, grew up on that area his entire life. And if you brought up skinwalkers, he would say, stop talking about it. And he would walk out of the room because there had been, the rumor is that he had scary things happen to him while he was out there. So skinwalkers
what is a skinwalker? Yeah, I've heard it, but I don't know exactly. When you talk about skinwalker, it doesn't come to mind. What comes to mind is like an alien-like.
I think in Native American folklore, it's like a coyote that masks itself as a coyote, but in reality, it is like an alien type humanoid with like crazy super strength. It'll eat you, like all that stuff.
It's kind of like a signs, like that kind of alien.
No, so it's not alien. It is Native American, but it is almost like someone made a deal with the devil to be able to transform into different animals. So that's why they call them skinwalkers, because they can transform into a wolf or a coyote, but then they can go back into their human form, and it's black magic type of stuff that they made a deal with the devil to be able to have that power, and now they're doomed with that forever.
And that's why like Skinwalker Ranch was named that, is because the people who had lived on those homesteads originally had seen so many crazy experiences with like coyotes that they're like, oh, did that just turn into a person? Is it walking on 2 legs now?
Yeah.
Oh, was that a bear? Like, what the hell is it? So they had like a lot of experiences
from a skinwalker type of experience.
Okay.
Not so much.
But now there's like alien / UFO stuff happening.
I thought it was more alien UFO, blood sucking, these 2-legged but / 4-legged things that would just tear animals apart.
Yeah, no, it was more of like, and you can almost look at them as like almost werewolf creatures, but it was like Native Americans that have done black magic and got involved with their version of the devil and were given this power, so to speak. So it's not really alien. Skinwalkers, that one's kind of, I don't know if I believe it, but it was interesting how scared that guy would get. Like, he would not talk about it. Like, we would joke around and he would leave. He would walk out of the cabin, or he would tell us to stop talking about it because he just.
I think like actual Native Americans take it super serious.
Oh, they do,
because it's like a spiritual thing.
Yep.
Too.
Yeah.
So here's a question: if we booked a trip to Skinwalker Ranch, would you guys go camping out there with me?
Oh, in a heartbeat. I think that'd be so fun.
Yeah, probably.
I would want to go. I would want to see some stuff.
It'd be sick, dude.
I would go to Skinwalker Ranch.
All right, Brandon Fugel, we're tagging you.
Get
us up there.
Yep, get us to Skinwalker Ranch. They got a huge security presence there to try to keep like trespassers off and stuff. So you have to get invited.
We'll record a podcast on the ranch in the middle of the night.
I love it.
That'd be pretty good.
Oh,
what was that? What was that? What was that?
It's not going to be. You would do. So they've been filming like a more scientific type show where they have like a PhD, the astrophysicist there.
Yeah,
and he's been doing things to try to figure out what's actually going on.
Yep.
Ours is not going to be scientific at all. It's totally going to be woohoo. We're totally going to be out there drinking, just experiencing UFOs and everything.
Post Malone called him up and went out there.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think he saw anything, but he went out there. I'm trying to think of
Brandon. Get us out there, man.
Yep. Any other mystical creatures you guys thought of that I didn't think of? Gone over Yeti, Mothman, Bigfoot.
Like the main ones I can think of.
We're not believers. People are going to be mad that we're not Sasquatch believers.
Yeah, we know some people that are heavy into Bigfoot. Like, Bigfoot is 100% real.
Yeah.
There is no doubt. I don't get it. I don't get it.
Dude, I don't get it, but I am that way with aliens.
Yeah, I think aliens make more sense, man, because there's because with aliens there is a huge factor of we just haven't like seen them yet. Like there's so many possibilities. With Bigfoot, it's this thing in the forest.
Well, it's a stupid thing in the forest.
This stupid thing in the
It
forest.
still walks around naked.
It's clearly so smart it can't get detected.
It's
Which is implausible.
Well, here's a theory: interdimensional Bigfoot. It can travel through dimensions,
and that's why
that's why you can't see it, because as soon as you spot it, boom, vanished.
Maybe. How does it know that you're spotting it though?
Because it's got freaking, dude, it can sense it in its hairs. I don't know.
Yeah, see, implausible. Now, if you said an alien can do that, I'd be like, hey, plausible.
Yep. And that's where I'm at. I believe in aliens because they have technology enough to fly to a different planet, so they could have cloaking mechanisms. They could do this certain type of thing, but freaking Bigfoot that's running around naked and can't even comb its own hair and it's all crazy looking, and we've never seen one or caught one or found bones or found one frozen in an iceberg or like any of this stuff. Like, I'm just like, I don't know. I'm not a Bigfoot fan.
Yeah, like I said, one person.
Yep.
Hashtag fuck Bigfoot.
Well, let us know if you believe in Bigfoot or any of the others. Like I said, the one in Indonesia, we'll find that video and post it. Brandon Fugel will take us to the ranch.
Yeah,
We'll see if
seriously, Brandon Fugel, take us to the ranch. We live close enough. You got to pay for nothing. We'll drive up there.
Yep.
Don't even pay for anything. We'll just do it.
Love it.
Open the gate.
Just reply to us and say, come.
I'm going to come.
Don't.
See ya.
See ya.
Bye.
Catch any new episodes on Monday anywhere you get podcasts. We're streaming on all major podcast platforms, so go check us out every Monday morning.